Hello everyone, and welcome back to the sixth video in this series. And in this one we are going to fly the I-6 rating on Pilotedge. Today we're going to be flying the Diamond 62 out of Los Angeles International Airport, KLAX, to John Wayne in Orange County, Kilo Sierra November Alpha. This rating is not really hard to perform or to fly. However, there's a lot of background knowledge and information that I would highly recommend that the person whoever's gonna try to fly this rating to be familiar with. And for this, if you go to the Pilotedge website and to the I-6 rating, on the very bottom, I believe there are two good workshops on instrument approaches, part 1 and part 2, which I highly recommend for pretty much everyone to watch. There's a wealth of knowledge in those workshops that we cannot get into detail here because it would take us hours and hours to explain. But I'm going to try to cover the basic or the main points on how to fly this rating successfully. Okay, so we are currently right now at LAX at Signature Flight Support, and the rating today would like you to be familiar with certain things. We were introduced to standard instrument departures last time. However, in the SID that we flew in the I-5 rating, there were no altitude restrictions on the waypoints in the SID. It was just a lateral SID, and we had to climb according to the clearances we received from ATC. This one is going to be a little bit different because we do have an altitude restriction in the SID. We're going to discuss this in a couple of minutes. Also, there's another issue here. It's called the feeder. Initial, intermediate, and final segments of an instrument approach. And the feeder thing is very important to understand because once you grasp this concept, is going to be used later when you fly the last sky high rating to understand what a feeder means, and that you can request an approach from a feeder waypoint instead of the initial approach fix. Okay, so and of course the other or the third most important item in this rating is the procedure turn, and specifically in this rating is the hold in lieu of procedure turn. So three main things for this rating: the having a SID with the altitude restrictions, understanding the feeder concept into an approach, and finally the how to conduct a procedure turn. Okay, so let's get to it. It looks here that we're going to be flying the Diamond 62. It's a piston aircraft, so our route will be the Seal Beach 8 departure of the Seal Beach transition at 4,000. So we're going to file that right now on the Pilotedge website. So let's copy this real quick. Copy, and we come to filing a flight plan. IFR. Alpha Delta Alpha India, this is GA62, and slash Golf, GNSS, Transponder Mode Charlie, non-RVSM. We'll put 180, and this is from KLAX, so there it is, to KSNA, here we go. I'm going to be filing for 4,000, and the route paste right here, the Seal Beach transition, the Seal Beach 8 departure. I am not using custom weather, and make sure again on item 13 to select the I-6 rating, and of course you have to inform the controller on first contact that you are going to be performing the I-6 rating. We're going to go ahead now and file the flight plan. That flight plan is filed successfully with Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India. So that's done. So we come back here real quick and talk about the several items we're going to have to deal with. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to connect to Pilotedge. So I'll start the Pilotedge client. Very good. And click connect. And the aircraft type is DA62. Here we go. And we're going to click connect. And before I connect real quick, I'm going to look at the Pilotedge map to make sure that I'm not going to spawn over someone else. So if I were to look at LAX real quick, it looks like we're good. I don't see anybody at signature support on the ground. So I'm going to connect now. Okay, looks like we're logged in and connected with Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India, Diamond 62. So that is good. All right. Before we brief the departure procedure and talk about the procedure turn and the feeder system, I'm going to pull up real quick the departure procedure chart. So go to LAX and procedure departure Seal Beach 8. Seal Beach 8 is right here. And let's pay close attention to what this says. It's giving you all the frequencies on the upper right, as you can see here, for the ATIS and clears delivery, etc. And let's check real quick what the weather's like. Okay, wind is westerly, sea breeze usually, so departure is going to be westerly. Most likely we're going to be departing from runway 25 left. This is the closest runway to us. Back again to the plate, and it says here takeoff minimum, standard takeoff minimum, so I'd encourage you to look that up, and we can certainly meet the climb gradient with the Diamond 62. And this departure is for non-turbojet aircraft. Turbojet aircraft will use different departure. Okay, we're good. The south complex turn at radial 154 from Santa Monica to 201 heading is required for ATC separation. Okay, we're going to get into that in just a second. It's actually explained. You can see the red arrow. I'm going to be taking off runway 25 left. And it says here, climb and heading 251 to cross the Santa Monica radial 154, which is depicted here. This is the radial. You need to cross the radial below 3000 and pay attention to this line above. So when you see a line above an altitude, that means that's the maximum altitude. So maximum is 3000. When you see the altitude is underlined only from the bottom, nothing on top, that means that's the minimum altitude. If you see it constrained by a line on top and bottom like this, for example, above on the bottom, that means you have to cross at, with that particular specific altitude. So here we cannot be higher than 3000 feet as we cross that radial. And that is an altitude restriction. Okay, need to pay attention to that. So okay, so it says climb on heading 251 to cross the radial at 3000, then turn left heading 201, then radar vectors to Seal Beach, Vortac, thence. It says here that all aircraft expect further clearance to default altitude 5 minutes after departure. So things to pay attention to, heading 251. We got to cross that radial at less than 3000. Alright, and then after we cross that radial, we're going to turn heading 201 to our, and continue heading 201 and continue climbing to our altitude that is we're going to receive in the clearance. And that's it. Lost comms. Our specified if not in contact with departure control within 5 minutes of departure, climb to flight level 230 or flight altitude, whichever is lower. Obviously here our flight altitude is lower, and we don't have to worry about the rest. So that is the first part about the departure. The lingo in the clearance is that you're going to get something like, okay, we'll clear, the departure, the Seal Beach 8 departure. And then when you get the altitude, you might hear something like climb via SID, except maintain, blah, 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 blah. All it says here that adhere to the restrictions in the standard instrument departure, the altitude constraints when you're climbing, except maintain, meaning when you reach that particular altitude, you need to stop there until you get a farther clearance. That's all it means. We're going to get to this in just a couple of minutes. So that's the first point. We come back here. The second point is the feeder. And the only way I can explain the feeder to you is to load up the approach chart for ILS runway 20 right, the full approach chart. And you can see here that the initial approach fix is depicted as Sager. So that is the initial approach fix where the instrument procedure is supposed to start. However, you can ask for the approach from a feeder point before the initial approach fix. And how do I know that Seal Beach is a feeder? Well, two things. I have a distance here, 18.9, and I have a minimum altitude for that leg between Seal Beach to Shager, which means, let's say I'm coming in at 6,000, 8,000 feet, whatever, and I ask for the approach from Seal Beach. If I get, okay, I'm going to be told from a feeder point, cross Seal Beach at a specific altitude, and then cleared for the approach, which means after Seal Beach, and I cross it at that particular altitude I've been cleared to, I can start descending according to these minimum altitudes. That's what a feeder means. Last thing I want to talk about is procedure turns. Procedure turns are ways to reverse course in order to align yourself with the final track. Obviously, if I'm coming like this from Seal Beach, this would be a very sharp turn to make, and that's what the procedure turn is for. It's a standardized way in order to reverse your course. You have to fly the procedure turn no matter what, unless you're being radar vectored to the final approach course, which we've done in the earlier ratings. If you are cleared straight in, so you hear in the clearance the words straight in, cleared straight in, blah, 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 that means you don't have to fly it. If the chart itself says on the track or the track you're coming from, it says no procedure turn, then in that case you don't fly it. And the last case is if you're flying a timed approach from a holding fix. We're not going to talk about this right now. So these are the times when you don't fly a procedure turn. Other than that, you have to fly it. And folks, the best way to avoid any confusion, if you're confused whether you need to fly it or not, just ask ETC. All right, so the procedure turn is to help you reverse the course and also can help you descend. Let's say I'm too high and I need to be, for example, at 3,500 and start descending before Shager, right? And let's say I'm too high, let's say I'm 6,000 feet or whatever, and I need to lose so much altitude. That's what this is for. You can actually hold here, and then from ATC, you're gonna do 1 or 2 laps of the hold until you get to that altitude in order to do the approach successfully. Okay, again, I'm not gonna discuss in detail how to do a holding entry. This is in the workshops. Where we're coming from here, this is going to be a parallel entry, and we're going to fly it according to, as you can see here, is depicted by for flight, and it's going to be also depicted by the G1000. Okay, so these are the main 3 things I wanted to discuss about this rating: the departure procedure, the feeder, and the procedure turn. In this case, it's a holding in lieu of procedure turn. We enter parallel, and then 1 minute, and then we turn left, intercept the final approach course, and then we continue descending according to this. And I would like to write the 3 magic numbers here, since we're going to do this approach anyways. The minimum is 255, so I'm going to write here 255. 500 to minimum is 755. And 1,000 feet above the touchdown zone elevation is 1,055. So I'm going to write down 1,055. These are the 3 numbers when I'm going to make my call outs to be stabilized. 1,000 above, 500 to minimum, in order to double check again if I have the landing clearance or not, and then the minimum to decide whether to continue or to execute the missed approach. Okay, so we're good now. We followed the flight plan, so we're going to go ahead now and grab the ATIS. So we click ready to fly, and there you go. Assuming I have a ground power unit, but I'm going to start the aircraft anyways. Of course, I wouldn't do that, wasting fuel in real life by the time I grab the clearance and everything, but I'm going to do it here because I don't want any issues with the battery. Okay, then alternator is on and master is on for the diamond. Fuel pump on, strobe on. Acknowledge the MFD and lift master on. Lift go light is off and starting the lift engine. Check the engine parameters. Everything is in the green. Oil pressure is in the green. Oil temperature is increasing gradually. We're good. Okay, right master on. Right glow on. Wait a little bit. It's off now. Okay. Start the right engine. And look at the engine parameters. Everything is in the green. Oil pressure is in the green. And we're good here. Okay, so in that case, what I'm going to do now is turn the avionics on, fuel pump off, pitot heat on to get rid of the warning or caution message. We go ahead now and grab the ATIS. The ATIS frequency, I'm going to bring forward flight back here. Okay, digital ATIS is for departure. It says 135.65. Put that on COM2. 135.65. And put COM2 and the aircraft.
Left are in progress. Simultaneous instrument departures in progress. Simultaneous approaches between Hawthorne runway 25 and Los Angeles runway 25 left are in progress. VFR departures contact clearance delivery. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway assignments and hold order instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Yankee. Los Angeles International Airport. ATIS information Yankee. 1853 Zulu. Wind 250 at 7. Visibility 10. 2,600 scattered. Ceiling 3,200 overcast. Temperature 21. Dew point 14. Altimeter 2990. Arriving runways 4 right, 25 left. Departing runways 24 left, 25 left, 25 right. ILS runway 24 right and runway 25 left approach in use. Simultaneous instrument approaches to runways 24 right and 5 left are in progress. Simultaneous instrument departures in progress. Simultaneous approaches between Hawthorne runway 25 and Los Angeles runway 25 left are in progress. VFR departures contact clear and livery. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway assignment and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Yankee.
I missed the overcast part. I'm going to listen to the first part again.
Los Angeles International Airport. ATIS information Yankee. 1853 Zulu. Wind 250 at 7. Visibility 10. 2,600 scattered. Ceiling 3,200 overcast. Temperature 21. Dew point 14.
Okay.
Altimeter 29.
That's it. So we get ready to grab our clearance, and this is John Wayne, and we know that it's going to be the Seal Beach 8 departure, Seal Beach transition, then direct most likely. Altitude, if I hear climb via SID, I like to write SID, except maintain I put a slash and I put the exception and the frequency and transponder. Okay, well, quickly back real quick to look up the Los Angeles clearance delivery 120.35. I put that also on COM2 120.35.
1,600 scattered. Ceiling 3,200 overcast. Temperature T1. Dew point 14. Altimeter 2990.
2266 on squawk.
120.35, and just remember from the
San Gentlemen, just verified that squawk 2266 on the
it's 2990.
2266 for 7 Juliet Romeo, thank you.
Santa Maria Tower, Piper 124 Alpha Golf 10 miles southeast, full stop with Zulu.
Piper 124 Alpha Golf, Santa Maria Tower, make straight in to runway 30, clear to land.
Straight in, 30, clear to land, Piper 124 Alpha Golf.
Station 5 Tango Papa, taxi to parking via Echo Charlie, cross runway 21 at Echo, this frequency, have a good day.
Echo Charlie to parking, cross runway 21 at Echo, thanks for the help, we'll go over to standing frequency, parking up top.
Los Angeles delivery, good afternoon. Diamond Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India, instruments to John Wayne with Yankee.
Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India, Los Angeles clearance cleared to John Wayne Airport, Seal Beach 8, departure, then filed. Climb via seat, accept maintain, 4000. Departure frequency 125.2, squawk 3271.
Clear to John Wayne, Seal Beach 8, departure, then as filed. Climb via set, accept maintain 4000. 125.2 and squawk 3271, Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India.
Feedback correct.
Okay. Looks like we're good now. We're going to go ahead now and set up the aircraft. I'm going to go back again to COM 1 in order not to get any interruptions while we set up the avionics. Okay, so back to COM 1. And we get the aircraft ready. I'm going to go ahead now maximize so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, well, I go through the clearance step by step. First, we need to program the route, flight plan, menu, and we delete the flight plan. And we put KLX, KLAX. And we put John Wayne. Very good, and we go ahead and put select departure and seal. Here we go, Beach 8, and we're going to be taking off from runway 25 left. I would change that if I get taxi instructions to a different runway, but we're assuming 25 left is the closest runway to us. Good, it takes us to Seal Beach, and we can go ahead now and look at it real quick. Okay, here's the radial, Santa Monica 154, and then after that another heading, and these headings are actually programmed in the GPS, but I'm going to fly them manually anyways. Alright, so I want to continue setting up the departure because I'm not done with the route, so I would go back again to for flight. And I would put to myself, okay, where's Santa Monica VOR? Here's the Santa Monica VOR 110.8. I'm going to put this one on the nav 1 frequency. Here we go, 110.8. And with wait, it's identified. Yep, Santa Monica's identified for us. And back to the departure procedure. It says here radial 154. I change the CDI, press the CDI button on the bottom to nav 1. And I would pick course 154. That is the radial once I cross it. Write that down. Here we go. Radial 154. Okay, that's the radial 154. It says fly heading 251, so I'm going to set heading 251 upon departure, following the instructions. Here we go, 251. So for backup, and once I cross this radial, I'm going to turn heading 201 again. Look at the red arrow right here on the bottom, and we read this, heading 251, cross the radial, add blue 3, then turn left, heading 201, and you get radar vectors after that. So 3000 on the altitude. I'm going to set that 3000, and then I'm going to continue climbing to 4000 after that. At about 3000, and then climb to 4000 afterwards. Okay, so that is set, and I would just write down 251 and 201 here, just to remind myself. I'm going to write them down here. So 251, then 201 headings. Very nice to be able to write on the chart. Okay, it looks good. I would also load the approach procedure. I'm going to ask for the ILS 20 right, not vectors. I'm going to use it from Seal Beach and borrow, and the minimum, my understanding here, was 255, so I'm going to put 260 because it doesn't takes whole tens. There you go, 260. And I'm going to load it. Yes.
Minimums.
All right, and in the route I'm going to clear KSNA, and I'm going to clear this Seal Beach, and then automatically the aircraft will fly. Okay, as you can see here, let me show you something very interesting about how beautiful the G1000 is and how efficient it is. Look, you can see the magenta line is to the proper heading that we need to fly. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to use the cursor and show you. So it's going to make us fly until we cross the radial. See, there's a waypoint here, it's called Santa Monica 154. And then after that, it is heading 201. And it makes you fly really far on that heading because it's assuming, hey, I'll keep you there until you get further instructions about what to do. See how long this line is. Let me zoom out just to show you. See? And because it's assuming you should fly that heading until you get further instructions, and you come back to the flight plan, and you can click direct to Seal Beach when you get the vectors to Seal Beach. Okay, looking good. So it looks like we set up the flight plan properly. And back to the clearance again. Okay, here's the clearance, and we got the SID. Okay, 125.2. I'm going to put this on COM1, 125.2 as the backup frequency, or the standby frequency on COM1. Let me go now set up all the comms, and back to ForeFlight, and come back to LAX. Here we go. Alright, so ground frequency. There's North Complex and the South Complex. We are in the South Complex, so 12175. So that will be on COM2, 12175. 121.75 Los Angeles ground South Complex. That's the frequency when using COM2. On COM1 I have the departure frequency, and I would have tower, and Los Angeles Tower South Complex is 120.95. So I'm going to put 120.95, 120.95. Okay, we're set. So
Gotcha. Canary transition, then as filed. And climb via SID. You need to climb via SID, except maintain 5000. Squawk 6326.
121.75, 121.7.
Okay, read back for American 971. Dot, then Shenry, then as filed. Maintain.
The next thing is the squawk 3271 transponder.
And squawking 6326.
3271.
American 971, climb via SID, except maintain 5000, otherwise read back correct.
3271. And I will now use the Pilotedge client to put mode Charlie. Okay, looking good. And now
Santa Maria Tower, Cessna 105 Mike Sierra, holding short, runway 30 at Alpha 8, ready?
Cessna 105 Mike Sierra, Santa Maria Tower, turn right, heading 100, runway 30, clear for takeoff.
Turn right, heading 100, runway 30, clear for takeoff, 5 Mike Sierra.
Burbank Tower, good morning, November 727 Juliet Romeo, holding short 15, ready.
November 727 Juliet Romeo, Burbank Tower, runway 15, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff 15, 727 Juliet Romeo.
okay, and it looks like we got everything set. Let's go over it again. Comms are set, and the altitude 3000 is set. Except maintain 4000. We're going to continue 4000 afterwards. And then I have the altimeter setting is there. Flight plan has been checked. Good to go. And the squawk is set. And we even have as backup the Santa Monica VOR frequency tuned in with the radial. So we can even fly this in using the CDI and nav1. Okay, so it looks good now. I'm going to minimize this right here, and we ask for our taxi clearance. And just to be sure, yes, we are in COM2, so we are good. Double check again that we have the correct ATIS.
53 Zulu. Wind 230 at Niner. Visibility 10. Ceiling 3000 broken. 3500 overcast. Temperature 21. Dew point 14. Altimeter 2989er. Arriving runways 24 right, 25 left. Departing runways 24 left, 25 left, 25 right. ILS runway 24 right and runway 25 left approach in use. Simultaneous instrument approaches to runways 24 right and 25 left are in progress. Simultaneous instrument departures in progress. Simultaneous approaches between Hawthorne runway 25 and Los Angeles runway 25 left are in progress. VFR departures contact clearance delivery. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact. You have information Alpha. Los Angeles International Airport. ATIS information Alpha. 1953 Zulu. Wind 230 at Niner. Visibility.
Okay, so we have Alpha. It did change, and we'll double check again.
Cessna 5 Mike Sierra, contact Santa Barbara departure.
12175.
Contact departure 5 Mike Sierra.
Los Angeles ground, good afternoon. Diamond Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India over at the South Complex at Signature, ready to taxi with Alpha.
Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India, Los Angeles ground, runway 25 left, taxi via Alpha Foxtrot.
25 left via Alpha Foxtrot, Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India. Okay, so right now and start our taxi. Okay, taxi light on, brakes released, and that's the broken and overcast layer above the airport. Left side clear. Right side clear. You can see the LAX.
AAL9R71 requesting taxi to runway 25 right.
American 971, there's no such thing as AAL. AAL is how you spell it, but it's pronounced American on the frequency. And on delivery, you need to contact ground for taxi.
Is aircraft approaching?
Okay, 10-4, understood.
Slow down a little. And Foxtrot should be the next left. And that is the next left. You see the green lights, green taxi lights, and the yellow line, obviously. Okay, so we turn left here, and we're gonna hold short, and we stop right here. Okay, we get the aircraft ready. Hold lights on, and fuel pump on. Flapless takeoff. Looks like the lateral, the vertical, everything is set here. And comm frequency is set. So what we do now is switch to comm 1. That's where we have the tower frequency ready for us. So switching to comm 1. I am on comm 1 right now. Double check the frequency again. KLAX and the frequency for tower. South complex is 120.95. 120.95. Double check again the also the departure frequency from the clearance, just to make sure it was 125.2. It's 125.2. It's in the standby for comm 1, so we are good to go. Alright, so we can now call tower and tell them we're ready. Los Angeles Tower, Diamond Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India, holding short at Foxtrot 25 left, ready for departure IFR.
Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India, Los Angeles Tower, runway 25 left, clear for takeoff.
25 left, clear for takeoff, Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India.
Wind 360 at 4.
Copied, Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India. Okay. Approach sector is clear. Left side is clear.
Approaching runway 25 left. Entered runway 25 left. 3,353 meters remaining.
Runway 25 left identified. Alright, takeoff. Takeoff power set. Airspeed alive.
American 9R71, I'm requesting taxi to runway 25 right.
American 971, Los Angeles ground, say position.
.78, rotate. Autopilot on. Nav. 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 Okay, keep it on heading then. Okay, buzzer rate, queue up. Lights off, reduce the power. A little. And vertical speed. I can reduce the vertical speed just to make sure I don't pass that that radial or that waypoint as you can see it here. Have to be at 3,000 or less. Alright, looks like the after takeoff checklist completed.
Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India, contact local departure with you.
Over to departure, have a good afternoon. Alpha Delta Alpha India. The next heading is 201 when we cross, so let's get to heading 201. Crossed it, 201. South Cal departure, good afternoon. Diamond Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India, 1,900, climbing via Citic 17 and 4,000.
HADAI, circuit departure, radar contact.
So we can continue our climb now to 4,000 because we crossed that radial. So I changed the altitude now to 4,000 and I'm going to increase the vertical speed. Vertical speed, make it 1,500 feet per minute. I'm still on heading. I can even double check with the CDI that we did cross the radial indeed. Okay, back to flight plan. Okay, we'll get the ADAS frequency rating on COM2 for John Wayne. ADAS frequency 126.0. I'm going to put it on COM2 quick. 126. Okay, 10 left heading 201, waiting for radar vectors. That's what it says here. Maps. When I get vectored to Seal Beach, I'm going to ask for frequency change to grab to get the ADAS.
HADAI, flight heading 110, contact SoCal approach 134.9er.
Heading 110 over to 134.9er. Have a good afternoon. Alpha Delta Alpha India.
Yeah, 3122, contact SoCal approach 119.6.
Okay, she said heading 110. Let's not forget this. Left. Heading 110. is set, aircraft is turning, and 134.9er.
7 Julie Romeo, contact Los Angeles Center 133.2.
South Cal approach, good afternoon, Diamond Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India, level at 4,000, and turning left heading 110.
Seven Julie Romeo, Los Angeles Center, climb and maintain flight level 2, correction, flight level 310.
Circle approach, good afternoon, United 3122 Heavy, descending on the Comics 213,500, information uniform.
United 3122 Heavy, circle approach, San Diego, altimeter 2992, thanks for uniform. Visual correction, localizer and RNAV approaches in use, do you have a preference?
Can do the localizer, United 3122 Heavy. FYI, we may need vectors from NATO, though the airplane seems to be misbehaving a little bit.
3122 Heavy, roger, expected localizer runway 27 approach.
Thanks, folks, for the localizer 27 from NATO for United 3122 Heavy.
HADAI, circle approach, LA altimeter 2989er.
2989er, and request frequency change to get the ATIS for John Wayne, 2 minutes, and we'll report back.
Hi, JDAI. Frequency change is approved and traffic off here at 10 o'clock, 3 miles southwestbound. Altitude indicates 4,000, type unknown.
Frequency change approved, currently in IMC negative contact, and we'll report back. Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India.
For 5 Mike Sierra, advise you have information. Mike, say approach request.
Zulu, wind 240 at 5, visibility 10, few clouds at 3,000. Ceiling 3,500 broken. Temperature 22. Dew point 13. Altimeter 2988. Arriving and departing runways 20 left. 20 right. Visual approaches in use. VFR departures contact clearance delivery. Advise on course heading, altitude, and if flight following is requested. Read back all runway assignments and hold short instructions. Advise on initial contact you have information Delta.
Okay, we have Delta. Back to Comm 1.
John Wayne Airport.
And 3122 Heavy. SoCal approach, good afternoon, United 3122 Heavy, 10,500, Comics 2, information uniform.
United 3122 Heavy, third tower approach, thank you. After Clone, fly heading 090. Vector localizer runway 27 approach. Descend and maintain 5,000.
Alrighty, after Clome, 090 on the heading and 5,000 on the altitude vectors for the localized runway 27 for United 3122 Heavy.
South Cal approach, Diamond Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India, back on the frequency with Delta. I'd like to request ILS or localizer runway 20 right, full approach from Seal Beach.
HADAI, correction, HADAI, thank you. Contact circle approach 128.1, I'll pass on your request.
128.1, then thank you. Hotel Alpha Delta Venue. South Cal approach, good afternoon. Diamond Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India, level at 4,000 in 110. We have Delta. I'd like to request ILS 20 right, full approach from Seal Beach.
HADAI, circle approach, John Wayne, altimeter 2988. Clear direct Seal Beach VOR, cross Seal Beach at 4,000, cleared ILS, runway 20 right approach.
Altimeter 2988, clear direct Seal Beach, cross Seal Beach 4,000, and then clear for ILS, full approach, runway 20 right, Hotel Alpha Delta Venue. Thank you. Very good. So in that case, I will do menu, procedure, activate approach, and click nav. And by clicking activate approach, the localizer frequency got activated automatically on nav 1. It's not identified, obviously, because we're not close to the ILS. So click direct Seal Beach, direct again. There we go. And center the heading box. She told us to cross it at 4,000. Did 4,000. We complete IMC right now. As you can see, we are going direct to Seal Beach. Here we go. Click direct to in-for flight. We'll go ahead and brief the approach real quick. Looks like we're going to arrive at Seal Beach at 4,000. This is ILS approach runway 20 right. 111.75. It's already tuned in on nav 1. Final approach course is 196. It's going to be set automatically by the Garmin 1000. Set RVR 1800 authorized with use of Flight Director Autopilot. We do have an autopilot, and RVR is not even reported, which means we have good visibility. Alright, looks like we got the frequency set, no issues. We're going to arrive at Seal Beach at 4,000. Then we're going to fly from Seal Beach radial 042 outbound to Sager. And then minimum altitude.
XMapsy 0 established localizer contact Santa Barbara Tower 119.7.
Establish on localizer all contact tower 119.75 Mike Sierra.
Alright, I'm going to maintain 4,000 then on that leg, that minimum altitude, until I reach Sager.
Commune 7 Juliet Romeo. Cross target, maintain flight level 240.
Let me also set the tower frequency, 126.8.
15 Juliet Golf, contact Los Angeles Center 128.6.
On the standby, 126.
128.6, 15 Juliet Golf.
16.8. Okay, so I'll keep 4,000 until Sager. Then I will do the procedure turn as depicted here. Left turn, go outbound 1 minute. And then I will turn left to intercept. And I will do that. I will descend to 3,500. After that, I'm going to start my descent according to this chart. Need to be at these minimum altitudes, as you can see at these waypoints, until I intercept the glide slope at Lemon.
15 Juliet Golf, Los Angeles Center, thank you, Palm Springs, altimeter 2978.
And then we descend down. Minimum is 255. Missed approach. Climb to 3,000 on the localizer to Mino intersection, which is 10.9 DME. We have the DME set.
Destination ATIS is 126.0.
Already. Okay, so it looks like things are looking good. Proceeding Seal Beach, she's set to cross at 4,000, and let's go ahead now, flight plan. And you can see after Seal Beach we have Sager, then we have the hold. I'm going to zoom in a little. I wouldn't completely, folks, leave the aircraft on autopilot when when I have to enter a hold or do a holding entry. I like to keep it on heading mode. The reason is sometimes the autopilot acts funky when it tries to enter a hold and follow the hold. But it's depicted in front of you with the magenta lines, so that's good for situational awareness and guidance. That's what I'm going to do, but I'm going to be using the heading mode on the autopilot. I'm going to increase my speed a little now. I slowed down so I can grab the ATIS and I have a little bit of leeway. Frequency was a little bit busy. Okay, so missed approach altitude again is 3,000. Looking good.
United 3122, happy flyer heading 240.
Caution, TFR ahead.
Right turn 240, United 3122 heavy.
Let's also put the ground frequency for John Wayne. And I'm going to be parking west, so 132.25. 132.25. Get that ready on COM2. 132 in case we are asked to switch to the frequency, but I think tower should be sufficient. Go back again. Okay, looking good. And I would now also load the airport diagram under plates, and we are going to park at the west ramp right here. I'm going to circle at the FBO facilities. 20 right, and we're going to exit off to the right. Back to maps.
3122 heavy, you are 4.5 miles from Vida, maintain 3,800 till establish localizer, clear localizer, 27 approach.
2988.
Try to maintain 3,800 till established cleared localizer runway 27 approach.
Complete
for
IMC.
United 3122 Heavy.
Nice day to do instrument approaches.
Our 248 Papa Tango contact Albuquerque Center 128.45.
Alright, so folks, as you can see here on the approach chart, Seal Beach is not marked as an initial approach fix. Initial approach fix is Sager, but I asked for the approach from Seal Beach because it's a feeder. Right? This helps you a lot. Let's say you are flying on a Victor airway. Minimum altitude for that Victor airway is, for example, very high. Let's say it's like 12,000 feet. And you need to be at 4,000 feet at the initial approach fix. And the initial approach fix is on the Victor airway. But you have a bunch of feeder points in between. And when you look at the approach chart, you find that these feeder points have minimum altitudes on each leg that are lower than 12,000, which means you can ask for the approach from any of those points and you can start descending according to the chart. This is very evident in the last Sky rating, and it's based on this rating, the teaching of the feeders to the approach.
United 3122 Heavy, contact Lumber Tower 118.3.
118.3, United 3122 Heavy, we'll see you.
7 Julie Romeo, contact Los Angeles Center 134.65.
Okay, we're inbound Sager now. Once we reach Sager, we're going to turn left, opposite of the inbound course for 1 minute. Then we're going to turn back left. That's a parallel entry. Turn back to intercept the inbound course. We don't need to enter the hold because we don't need to lose that much altitude. We're good to go.
AGDAI, report established localizer.
Welco, we'll report established localizer to Alpha Delta venue.
Our 727 Julie Romeo, Los Angeles Center, thank you, Las Vegas, altimeter 2981, cross WIG at maintain 10,000.
Okay, we've got 2 nautical miles to go. We're going to turn about half a nautical miles before us, 30 degrees. For 90 degrees at this speed, I would say about 1.5 nautical miles. So, since we're doing 1/3 of that, 30 degrees, about half, 0.5 nautical miles. I will press the heading mode on the GPS. Aircraft's going to turn left to 016. 0.9, 0.8, 0.7, 6, 5, here we go, press heading. Aircraft now is going to start turning left. And we're going to catch it nicely. Now we need to start the timer. I press timer, start. One minute, we don't have that much wind. I'll go a little bit to the left, catch the track a little. No, it's a little bit too fast. Oh, we're doing good. About 1 minute out, plus or minus wind correction. For headwind, tailwind, here we have just, well, not tailwind, it's nothing, so probably pretty much going to fly 1 minute. I need to descend now, vertical speed to 3,500, use the speed. And here's 1 minute, so now I turn with the heading bug to the left to intercept the localizer. I'm going to switch the CDI now, activate vectors to final. Well, I can just switch to CDI mode and I will be fine. Here we go. Here's a good intercept heading 150. That's good, and I'm gonna switch now the CDI to localizer mode. Here you go. We're out of the range. Again, let's double check again the frequency. 111.75 is correct, and the course is correct, 196. Okay, we're at 3,500. Give it some power now. Turning back to intercept. It looks to me that the localizer is still not active, so I cannot tell her I'm established on the localizer. So I'll probably go back then with the CDI. Here we go. Course is coming. Start turning right. I don't need this anymore, but I certainly need the flight plan. After Sager, I need to start descending. Okay, it's identified now. I can switch the CDI. Here we go, and I will press nav, not approach, and I will be able to intercept the localizer. Nav will capture the localizer. I need to descend now to the altitude where I'm going to capture the glide slope, which is 2200, and monitor the altitudes. 2200 and vertical speed. Now after Shager I can start descending, vertical speed down, 500 feet per minute. South Cal approach, dominant tail off at the top end, established on localizer 20 right.
Caution, TFR ahead.
HADAI, thank you at Snake. Contact downwind tower 126.8.
At Snake over 2 tower 126.8, tail off at the top end. Okay, so the next altitude is 3,400, hold altitude. She distracted us a little. Keep it up. I'll go vertical speed up. That's good. Bring it back to 0. We'll keep it in vertical speed mode. She said at Snake, switch over to tower. We'll switch over to tower at Snake. Snake is the next waypoint. Center the heading back. Okay, I think we're over Snake now. We'll start descending to 2,800. And we can switch over to tower. Switching over tower.
Via November, 32 kilo.
Flash rising. Yes, actually, I think it sounds maybe more like an interference of some sort.
We can click.
Alright, I'll see if I can fix it.
Approach now.
November 2 Charlie Alpha, runway 29 are cleared for the option.
Watch your altitudes. Press approach. We're descending with the glide slope. Join tower, good afternoon. I'm Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India and the ILS 20 right for full stop.
Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India, John Tower, runway 20 right, clear to land.
20 right, clear to land, Hotel Alpha Delta Alpha India. Okay, we just want to make sure, next waypoint 2800, looks like glide slope is good, it's not violating any of the stuff. Very good. Now we need to set up the aircraft for landing. Something happened. Choose the power. I think we had too much power. Okay, reduce lights on. I'll go now, gear down, slow down. Fuel pump on. And flaps approach. Looks like we're good. Next waypoint 2200 at lemon, that's the minimum, but looks like we are going to be good there. Okay, we need to now set the missed approach altitude, that is 3000. I'm going to set it. Altitude knob, in case we need to go around. Maintain 100 knots, give it power, no power.
Delta 69 Delta Squawk, altitude mode C.
69 Delta, standby.
American 971, contact local departure 125.2.
Alright, looks like we're good now.
Departure 125.2.
Los Angeles Tower, November 11600 Delta, holding short 25 left with Alpha, ready for takeoff on the I-6.
November 1169 Delta, Los Angeles Tower, runway 25 left, clear for takeoff.
Clear takeoff 25 left, 600 Delta.
This one was doing the same rating.
Palm Springs Tower, Sirius 15 Julie Golf 6800, we're on the visual for 13 right.
Sirius 15 Juliet Golf, Palm Springs Tower, runway 13 right, clear to land.
Clear to land 13 right, 15 Juliet Golf.
Torrance Tower, Baron 58 Charlie Whiskey, holding short 29 right at Juliet, ready for takeoff.
Baron 58 Charlie Whiskey, Torrance Tower, runway 29 right, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff 29 right, Baron 58 Charlie Whiskey.
Landing checklist, gear down, 3 greens, lights on, fuel pump on, flaps approach, clear to land. Landing checklist completed.
Skyhawk 2 Charlie Alpha, runway 29 are cleared for the option.
Runway 29 are cleared for the option. Skyhawk 2 Charlie Alpha.
3 mile final runway 20 right.
1000 above, stabilized.
McLennan Tower says 5232 kilo. McLennan Tower says 5232 kilo, ready for departure at 24.
Cessna 5232 kilo, Colson is Palomar Tower, runway 24, clear for takeoff.
Okay, clear for takeoff, 2432 kilo.
500 to minimum, clear to land. I can approach minimum now, 255. We'll get rid of this guy. We'll get ready for landing. Remember, when you disconnect the autopilot on the Simionic, the aircraft tends to pitch down because it's not trimmed. The Simionic gives up
500
control of the aircraft. Okay, it looks like I'm going to disconnect.
Baron 8 Charlie Whiskey, contact so-called departure.
Departure for Baron 58 Charlie Whiskey.
Number 69 Delta, contact so-called departure.
Okay, disconnect.
SoCal departure 69 Delta.
Okay. Good.
minimums, minimums.
Continue. Idle. I had too much speed to drain. Okay, taxi chart, we can exit here on hotel. Clear the runway from the whole short lines. We have to be completely clear of those lines. Even if you extend a little bit into an existing taxiway, that's fine. So here, and we stop. Fuel pump off, flaps up. John Wayne Tower, Diamond Alpha Delta India, clear 20 right at hotel. Request taxi to the FBO on the west ramp.
Delta Alpha India, taxi to parking via Bravo this frequency. Have a good day.
Parking via Bravo this frequency. Have a good day too. Hotel Alpha Delta India. Okay, we're good now. Just taxi straight ahead. Looking right, clear. Left, clear. Landing light off, nav lights off. Just leave the
Skyhawk 2 Channel Alpha Pass. We've got 3 runway 29, clear for the option.
29er, clear for the option for Skyhawk November 92 Charlie Alpha.
Okay, we're good now. We parked by the FBO. And that is the FBO facilities according to the taxi or the airport diagram right here. Okay, so brakes on. All lights off except for strobes. P2 heat off. I will turn also the avionics off. Supposed to wait 2 minutes for turbocharged engine. But I'm not going to do that, obviously. So lift, master off, right master off. Okay, and then the strobe light off, and alternator and battery off. We're good. Now we can go ahead now and debrief this flight. Open again. Here we go. I'll come back to the map. We have the breadcrumbs here. Everything is good. Alright, so just to debrief real quick. So we followed the flight plan with the Seal Beach 8 departure, Seal Beach transition. Again, the difference between this departure and the departure in the previous rating, I really like how Pilotedge designed the progress on the, how much you need to learn. That the previous rating did not have altitude constraints on the SID. Okay, and because it didn't have altitude constraints on the SID, you didn't get a climb via SID in the clearance. This one did have an altitude constraint. We talked about it before, but let me just pull it up real quick. Here's procedure. Departure, Seal Beach 8. You can see that right there is the culprit, That's the altitude restriction. That's why we heard climb via SID except maintain 4,000. Meaning adhere to all the altitude constraints in the departure procedure until you get to that 4,000. After, of course, you're following the constraints, you stop there until farther clearance. That's what it means. We followed the procedure according. We flew heading 251, and you can see in the G1000 it already marked the point where you're going to cross the Santa Monica radial 154 outbound or 154 radial period. Below 3000, I continued my climb. I actually controlled my vertical speed. I didn't want to be too aggressive. Maybe I can overshoot it, especially in a turboprop. So what I did was, 1,000 feet per minute, I was good to go. I crossed it below 3000, and then after that I turned heading 201, and then I continued my climb to my clearance, which is the 4000, except maintain 4000. I climbed to 4000, I maintained that heading. I kept getting vectors, and after getting the vectors, I requested the full approach, ILS 20 right from Seal Beach. Seal Beach is a feeder, and we discussed why it's called a feeder. This rating, folks, doesn't really show the beef of what a feeder means. I really suggest you go take a look at the first leg of the last sky rating and look at the approach chart into that airport. I forgot actually the name, but actually I can probably pull it up right now. I have it saved here under favorite. Let's put sky ratings. Here you go, sky 10, the first leg. Here it is. And we're supposed to shoot an approach RNAV runway 14. I'm going to show you the chart. Well, actually, before I show you the chart, we look at this Victor Airway. Let me move this a little bit here. And I want to show you the Victor Airway. See, minimum, the MIA is 12,000. The MOCA is 9,800. Let's say we find the minimum en route altitude of 12,000 feet. That's the whole point of the feeder. Okay, so we have 12,000 feet. Let me delete this point, remove from route. And then procedure, approach, only GPS, and just put green out, whatever. And here you go. And look at this chart. So I am at 12,000. And if I get cleared for the approach at green at 6,700, that is almost 5,000 feet to lose. And then I need to lose 7,000 feet in the distance of 6 miles right here. That's not going to work. But look at these waypoints. Look at Klama. Look at Fobro. Look at Hevek. Look at Epog. Between them, you can see distances and altitudes. Distance, altitude. So I can literally, from my departure airport after Yarun, I can say, for example, I would like to request this approach from Klama. I would like to request this approach from Fobro. I'm going to be given a crossing altitude restriction at Fobro or whatever point I ask for, and then after that I can start descending according to these minimum altitudes, 8,000, 75. So despite that this Victor Airway has a minimum en route altitude of 12,000 feet, I can descend lower once I'm clear to the approach from one of those feeders, okay? And then I can continue on my approach. So let's say I have Klama as an initial approach point, if it's any, or I'm sorry, I have green as an initial approach fix, but I can start descending before, despite the minimum route altitude, because these feeders, these legs have distances and altitudes on them, and I can ask for the approach from any point before that. This is a very good example. Actually, it's more evident why you need to use the feeders than the I-6, because the I-6 I was flying at 4,000, and the leg between Seal Beach and Sager was also 4,000, so it's not really that obvious the purpose of using those feeders. So let's pay attention to that. Going back again to our I-6 rating, I'll come back here and I will load procedure approach. Here we go from Seal Beach at route. Here's the chart. Okay, so we flew. It says here minimum is 4,000. I maintain my 4,000. Here minimum 3,500. I descended in the entry to 3,500, and then after that I started descending according to these minimum altitudes right here. Look, 3,400, 2,800, 2,200, etc. Do not descend below these altitudes because if you do, you will fail the rating. Okay, I mean, if you have by 50, 60 feet, it's not an issue. I mean, 100 feet, even, like you can say altimeter error is within it's within the margin of error. But don't, for example, it says cross at 3,400. Don't cross at 3,000. You will fail the rating. You need to descend according to these altitudes. But if you catch the glide slope, which you can actually from Snake catch the glide slope, you're not going to violate these altitude restrictions. Keep an eye also on the GPS and the autopilot, but you're not going to violate these altitude restrictions if you catch the glide slope earlier. You're going to be good to go. Autopilot is in approach mode. You're descending nicely. Make sure you configure your aircraft. Make sure you set your go around or missed approach altitude. So far we haven't done a missed approach, but in the future ratings we will, and we will be ready for that. and make your call outs. Again, 1,000 above, whether you stabilized or not, 500 to minimum, whether you have a landing clearance or not, and the minimum to continue or to go around. And that's it, and you land and you're good to go. And that's pretty much what's in this rating. Again, there's a whole lot of knowledge behind this. For example, this entry in itself is a big deal. You would have to go and study how you would enter holdings in general. That's a big topic. Of course, if you have an electronic flight bag like ForeFlight, it would help you visualize, and it would show you how to enter that holding. That's a good thing, but in general, you need to know these things if you want to be instrument rated, or at least for your knowledge as a simmer. You might have to encounter a hold in the future. I need to know what you need, how to enter that hold. Okay, so again, we said the procedure turns, you have to fly them, except for certain scenarios. I believe 4 cases, right? If you're being vectored, if you're cleared straight in, if it says no procedure turn written on the chart as you're coming in, and finally, if you're flying a timed approach from a holding fix. I encourage you to do some reading, but with this basic knowledge, you should be able to pass this rating. Don't violate those altitude restrictions. Do the holding correctly, enter the holding correctly, or do the procedure turn correctly, and you're going to be good to go, and you should be able to pass this rating. Well, I would like to say thank you very much for watching this video. And let's take a look real quick at Orange County, looking pretty. And we'll see you on the next rating, the I-7, Orange County, home of Disneyland.